Okay, so finally I'm online. Oh my gosh. Hi guys, it's been harrowing getting online today, actually. I'm so sorry we started a little late. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna respond to people's messages because people are saying that they can't see me, but as I am trying to see me as well, I'm trying to get online. So I'm just gonna leave a message on Facebook that I finally made it online for people that have been trying to get on. I'm so sorry. I was uploading the interview that I did with Pagama, and for some reason, YouTube kept saying to me that I'm not authorized to go online and do the Google Hangouts because it's connected to the Wealthy Money page that you guys are watching. So please say hi in the chat session if you can see me, right? So let me know if this is, if you can see me and if you're hearing me or if you have any issues, right? If you're having any issues watching, please go directly to YouTube. I've posted a link below and you can type your comments in the chat box below, right? So let me know your thoughts. We're finally on day 5. Let me look at what's going on in chat. Ugh. So, okay, why is it not? Okay, I guess I'm paid today, hey? I can't see you guys chat at all now for some reason. Okay, I think I should just go and start the class because clearly today is that day. Crazy. Pagam and I tried to do the video. We couldn't do her interview because of tech issues. Then we did offline interviews, and then because of tech issues, I couldn't upload stuff, and because of tech issues, I couldn't email a bunch of things today and come back this evening prep for the class, and the prep was going well until now. Okay, so everyone in the box. So please type in the chat box. Let me know how you are, how you're doing. We're on day 5 today. So it's just, how did day 4 go? So people have posted that they struggled a little with the exercise for day 4. And also people have said that they struggled in general because today is payday, right? So guys, this is the purpose of the work. It's that you don't do relation to whatever's happening in the real world. We do the work in tandem with everything in the real world. As you get paid, you test the exercises, you test the legitimacy of the work against the stuff, right? So you go back to day 1, you observe your breath, you look at your emotions around what's going on as money's going in. Remember, I said that the challenge is really about checking, dealing with your expenditures and the way that you spend money in your bank account, right? It's not going to be dealing with like deeper things like the fears that you have around money flowing into your bank account. We only have 5 days. So I had to choose what I was able to hold the space for in 5 days and what I could do really well, because we carry a lot of trauma within us. So it's actually a little weird when we think that we're going to solve money trauma, because think of how often you've managed money in your lifetime as a human being, from the time you were born to, right? So, and every single day you've been triggered, you've been re-triggered, you've had access to old childhood memories. So literally almost, I would say, hour on the hour, we've been developing or cementing old money stories, old money traumas, ancestral stories every day. So there's only so much that 5 days can do, right? But still, even that being said, when I'm thinking out about checking your bank account, that's the purpose of this challenge. It's about the freaking out in checking your bank account. So checking the bank account and actually so back and read do the lessons with the money in your bank account. Completely different experience, because how do I put this? It's so difficult sometimes when people haven't done the money magic course, because it's so difficult to explain that there are various elements of your relationship with money. So what we did the challenge around was where you were in your bank account, however much you had in your bank account. That's a whole different story, right? So your mind already has a whole different comfort level story, etc., around that. Now, when the money increases in your bank account, your mind also has a whole different story around that. Your inner child has a whole different story around payday versus, right? Because on payday within your family, there are different things that happen than mid-month. So you carry different stories and traumas month versus payday. So now you have to go back and do the work. And then there's also elements that you have to go deeper and deeper. This is why we have so many different meditations in the money matter. We do so many different things, because every single point is different, because I don't know what stories could have been triggered at month end. I can only guess. Most of us have seen our parents get paid, and then payday is Christmas, right? Like when we're talking, the payday is Christmas, and we're going to KFC, Burger King, whatever it was, right? So now it's about change story around payday. So you can use the challenge to help you with really dealing with the fear of changing your bank account. So go back to the basics of day one. Start from day one. What you do is use the challenge to help you change your expenditures on a day-to-day basis. It will help with that, right? So, okay, let's start on lesson 5 for today. So lesson 5 is a masterclass, and I'm going to be talking about the 7 emotions, saving and investing money at any point now. Caroline, you say you're visible and audible. Okay, thank you. So, great. Do a screen share. I'm about to disappear and what's PowerPoint presentation. And let's do this. Okay, somewhere in there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so welcome to the 7 emotions that stop us from an investing masterclass. So if you guys still don't know who I am after 5 days, my name is Vangile Makwakwa, and I'm the author of Heart, Mind, and Money. I'm a speaker, and I'm the founder of Wealthy Money and Wealthy Money Academy. Okay, so before we start, I want you to turn off your cell phones, to close other tabs and get rid of any distractions. Forgot to write on here that if you guys have a notebook and pen and paper or whatever, take out your money notebook for those people that decided to do the thing that Nizo suggested and that I later is get yourself a money journal like the money magic students. And yeah, get ready, write, take notes, do whatever inside, right? And then you can tell me in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how you'd rate your state of your finances, right? And explain why. But also not just how you'd rate. What if today is payday for you and you've done the 5 days, the 5-day challenge? How do you feel? Is there a shift? Is there worse? Because some people are feeling even more intensely anxious than usual, right? And part of that is that it means that something deep has been, so redo the challenge. And unfortunately, this is when I would say we need to do deeper work around that, right? But and it should help, right? And again, really pay attention to your breathing. Your breath is going to help you. Don't try to change it, just observe it every single day 1 for 30 days. Do it. I really encourage it. That's what I started with, right? Day 1 for 30 days until Spirit started guiding me to the meditations and all those things. But day 1 was my staple until like things started to unfold, because it's not like I get everything all in one day. I hear things over a year or 2 years, right? So I received lots of emails, okay? Some of them. So, okay. I have them and I'm going to respond. So I'm going to stop sharing from on so you guys get to see me again. I'm going to read some of the emails, right? So Nogulunga said her greatest challenge is debt and inconsistent income. So I signed up for the Masterclass a while back. What is their greatest challenge? And Nogulunga said it's debt and inconsistent income. Okay, so debt expenses, and if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, I have several videos on paying off debt that I've done. I really recommend going through those videos, critical numbers things that I did, which is how I listed my debt descending order, like from smallest to, okay, but whatever it is, I listed it and then I decided to pay it off little by little. So I share that whole strategy, Wealthy Money YouTube channel, right? As for inconsistent income, I did the live interview with Pagama today, and I really watching that. I'll share it in the Facebook page for the Fall in Love with Your Bank Account Challenge and on the Wealthy Money page. And she shares how she went from working for free to work and how that shift happened, right? Because really, honestly, people don't believe me when I say this is not about practical things. It's a lot more about what's going on and healing the internal to heal the external. And then Tando, you say, thanks for the response. My biggest challenge right now is I had a baby recently, and all the unforeseen expenses just piled to finish all my savings. Now I'm unable to save, and that worries me. I've tried settling small debts, and the other challenge is renting. Okay, so again, the YouTube channel, the videos on how to pay off debt, right? And also the one thing that I want to say as when it comes to paying off debt, guys, it's really, really hard to become debt-free on one income. Let's get really real. For me to become debt-free, I had to have I worked on Wealthy Money. Wealthy Money's profits went towards paying off debt. And then I got a part-time job with the University of Stellenbosch, where I used that part-time myself afloat to pay rent, to pay other things. So if I'm not suggesting go out and start a business or anything, but I have an aunt that used Bomashonisa. So for those people that don't know what bomachonisa is. I guess in English you say it's loan sharks, right? So my aunt was with loan, tons and tons of debt. So we sat down and I worked through the entire debt repayment strategy that I share on the YouTube channel with her. But then we go around the emotional stuff, right? The emotional triggers, etc., etc. And then, and my aunt is like she's 60 this year, right? This is not just work for like our parents coming. Oh, my parents won't understand it or whatever. I'm like, what? I've been working with all, let's do it. And they super Christian and everything. And they just like, I am willing to try anything to get out of debt, right? And I think when you reach your all. And anyway, with my aunt, the one thing that we decided was, what can she do? She's right. Started just sewing. So she started sewing. You know how in the location you just get people who come. She's a teacher, so she has her salary. Sewing for everyone here, fixing kids' blazers, doing whatever. Guess what? Within 2 years, my aunt paid off the remainder of her bond. She now has 2 properties that she works with. She just bought a car. Her guys, this is huge, right? So you can make the shifts. The thing is, most of us think, oh, sewing, cooking, whatever, these things are below us. And she also then built rooms, back rooms, right? Because you can do that in the locations. So that meant extra money coming in from renting. So before she knew it, she had extra. So it's just whatever your hobby is, you start wherever you are. Whatever your talent is, whatever your hobby is. I started with writing as my extra income, right? Then I got a job, and I started speaking, and all those extra monies went towards paying off debt. And then eventually came the course for Wealthy Money, and it started becoming a form. But before then, it was, how do I get extra income to pay off this debt, right? So that's something that you really need to think of. And don't be shy, literally. So if you cook, if that's the way your extra income is going to come, that's the way your extra income is going to come. And then you're just going to use that differently. So it's like, keep all the money in a jar from sewing. And like, guys, we're talking about 50 rands or $5 to fix a blazer. I think it wouldn't go far, but after like 6 months, guess what? That money was building back rooms. And then now you have extra rental income, but that rental income is now paying the bond, and so things just move so fast when you make the decision to change your finances. And the other thing is so blue, right? Because when you show up for money in a different way, money shows up for you differently. And then Gina, you say, thank you, I'm excited. You can also join the Money Magic course afterwards. So I guess just a challenge as the course. My biggest financial challenge is the feeling that I don't earn enough money from my job. I kind of address that. Like, you don't have other streams of income. You have to find a way to make them. Don't care what other people are going to think or say. Just do it. Says my biggest financial challenge at the moment is that I use money recklessly and impulsively and would use my bail out someone else, mostly family members. Okay, so most people would call that generosity. I do not. I call that a very broken relationship with money and underlying issues around inner child, right? That's why you feel the need to use money, to use your last penny out someone else. We need to then as to why you're willing to put others' needs above your own, right? And that's child work. So Nelly, you said, you asked, what is my biggest challenge at the moment? I'm currently managing my family's expenditures, and I would like to be able to save for emergencies or for trips out of town. I've said in my heart that 10% of what comes into that expense account needs to be set aside. However, something always comes up. Okay, so crisis, emergencies come up if you haven't dealt with the deeper underlying work issues around money. So it's more to do with your money at an emotional and an energetic level. That's why the crisis is, that's why you have crisis, that's why you manifest emergencies, right? Okay, so back to the class, and I'm going to share with you guys how we're going to progress and what you can, and share a little bit of my story if you haven't read the emails or don't know my story, right? So back to the PowerPoint. Okay, shared the email. So I'm guessing that the main reason that everyone is here is because you want to get out of debt, you want to things, and you want to probably create income. So the Money Magic course is opening up for registration today. Actually, it's open right now. And I think for me, best way to start working on the changing your finances, because really it's about income. So financial freedom is three-pronged. First, we work on increasing income and then decreasing debt. And then the excess money that you have after paying off expenses and debt can investments. And that's when you start creating passive income, right? And when you start creating passive income, that means that it's a way to replace your actively earning money at your job. Should anything happen, this part, the investments, comes in handy. So today is the link between emotions and financial behavior. And it's the 7 emotions that stop us from saving money and investing and ourselves to heal our finances. So I'm going to quickly share my story with you guys really fast, right? So in 2010, I was MBA. So I thought, yes, I'm definitely going to get my finances 100% on track. But I was also 6 years in debt, couldn't see the light. So before long, okay, I started having panic attacks all the time. And I was really, really ashamed of my debt, because I didn't just have $60,000 in student loan debt. I had, in every sense of the word, I had cards, I had student loans in South Africa, in the US, family and friends. I just had so much going on. It was just a hot mess, right? So eventually I started having panic attacks around money, and I even managed the physical aspect of money, like a bill. I couldn't manage it, like coins. So that just made me really tired. But I also had this burning desire to be debt free, right? So I was do the Vipassana meditation, and through Vipassana meditation, I started hearing things and understanding things. Well, not through Vipassana. I'd always heard things, and now it was around money stuff. So I did all the work that I was advised to do, and 4 years later, free. Right, I paid off $60,000 in debt, so about 600,000 rand at the time. Then I paid off the debt, Heart, Mind, and Money, right? So I wrote Heart, Mind, and Money as I was on the debt repayment journey. And then I launched Wealthy Money, just shared with you guys how that happened. Traveling again, right? No, why did I say, oh, currently in Sri Lanka. Oh, I meant to say currently planning the retreat in Sri Lanka for Sri Lanka. Please ignore that typo. Okay, so I'm planning the next retreat in Sri Lanka. This is me. I'm currently in Koh Samui. This is Chiang Mai. I'm heading back to Chiang Mai tomorrow morning, actually. And we had the first Wealthy Money Island in April of this year. So I'm very, very excited about that. It's the one thing that I'm so proud of for this year. I mean, like, there's a I'm proud of about Wealthy Money, but this is really the top one. It was the highlight of my year. And I also have a yoga teaching certificate. There's a lot of the work around the body and the breath that comes from my yoga teaching, right? So I teach yoga as well. And I started mind body connection deeper. And I've been using my yoga teaching skills to help me really understand the connection between the, right? So what do students say about the work that I do and money magic in general, right? So Techofatso just wanted to tell you that the course is doing, thank you and keep doing what you're doing. My growth career-wise is happening so fast, it's unbelievable. Everything else that's happened, I stand to be in line to be on the can't say what that is. I'm sworn to secrecy, female ever. And then she says also there's an awesome flow of money my way. It's amazing. I got so overwhelmed with emotions the other day as a result of them, right? So I want you guys to ask yourself, who would you be without any constant shame or guilt or constant things? I already asked this in the challenge, right? I asked you who you would be without your current emotions. So mull over that for a few days and just ask yourself, what would that feel like? What would become possible to ask this question? And the answer that I got kind of kept me going to keep paying back debt, because I was like, oh, I would have free, right? So this is just me in Trinidad. When I went back to Trinidad after I paid off my debt, I'm celebrating by going to Trinidad for a month. Okay, so talk about the link between emotion and behavior. So in the last 5 days, I'm hoping that you've already, there's such a deep link between your emotions and your financial behavior, right? So before we even get into that, let's talk is not, right? So most people have created stories about money. We all have created stories about money. I still have so many stories about money, right? The money, because money is neither good or evil. It's just a measure of value, right? And so it's not about the money. Created this archetype around money, and then every time we use money, we think we associate money with that archetype, and it makes it to make rational financial decisions about money. Because how are you going to make a great decision about money if you think, oh, money tears families apart? You want to make great decisions about money then, right? So our stories about money totally affect how we feel about money. So on day one of the challenge, is definitely affected by the stories that we have around money. But the reason why everyone just focus on your breath, and I still say that, is because we don't want to get caught up in the stories, because often we'll go, well, like this, because my mother told me that I wasn't good enough and she criticized me. And so before you know it, you're going down this rabbit hole of just financial behavior. So to get out of that justification, and because we don't have the other meditations and the other things that support that are in the Money Magic course, I just say focus on the breath and focus on the sensations in your body. Just deal with that, and I promise you there's still going to be a shift. So what up in the stories, because often we truly believe our stories are valid, right? And we want to hold on to every single bit of the story and heal if we do that, right? And I think you've also seen from day one and probably day 2 and day 3, especially with the breath challenge, can affect your financial behavior, right? Because most of the time we're just spending and we're not even aware of it. And that's not a judgment. We all it's not like we have schools that teach us on a daily basis how to manage our spending, right? So our emotions or behavior, and being said, what are the 7 emotions that stop us from saving and investing that we should be aware of if we have a tendency to feel these emotions? So I know I have a tendency to feel guilt above any other emotion. So I know emotions in my life. So if you have a driving emotion, you may just want to pay attention to it and see how it affects your savings and investing, right? So I think is really important when it comes, that really can keep us stuck and stop us from saving and investing, is anxiety. So it keeps us in fight or flight. And oh my gosh, do I just know this emotion? I mean, panic attacks are anxiety. So that's big. So I struggled with anxiety as well. And so when we're in fight or flight mode, because in the Stone Age, what used to happen was we used to feel like, okay, we used to feel to protect ourselves from the elements. So say you saw a bear and the bear came towards you, then run away from it. That would save your life. But now we feel anxious about things like money. But how do you fight money? How do you fight paper and on a screen? So most of the time we'll just avoid our finances, right? That's when we avoid our bank account. That's one of the main reasons on the challenge group and say, I feel so anxious, I can't look at my bank account. That's because anxiety, one of the things it forces us to avoid our finances, right? And because we're in avoidance mode, we're not actually able to see what's truly going on in our bank. Just pretend that whatever's happening isn't happening, and that eventually leads to increased debt. Or we decide to make ourselves feel better. So we avoid our finances, we're worried we're in a terrible financial state, but we still spend ourselves feel better, right? So still, I say day 1 would still help. Day 1 exercise in lesson 1 meditation. So that's one of the solutions that I provide, which is set the emotion and then going beyond what we did in the challenge and going into understanding where does the emotion come from in terms of memory. What stories does this anxiety have, so that we can work on the stories and release it, to sit with anxiety on a deeper level, and then learning to allow the anxiety to be in our body, but also getting our bodies to actually going into body talk and working with our bodies so that we start releasing the emotions. So my favorite most of my life is feel guilt when we believe we've done something that kept is the emotion that people kept mentioning in the challenge as well, is that guilt is one of the emotions we've made a vow around money or around family and money or around our self-pacing around concerning money. And so sometimes when we break these vows, we feel extremely guilty. Then we want to get rid of money, right? And often guilt also makes us want to undercharge because we want to the level that we think is okay financially. So you're not about to go, ooh, I want to be loyal and make a lot of money. So I am going to charge exactly what I'm worth or I'm going to charge way more. No, you're not going to keep you at a certain level. And then we manifest emergencies. So let's say you curb your expenses. So this happens all the time. People figure out how to curb their expenses. It works wonders, and everyone's starting to spend less and all that. Suddenly, a new start manifesting emergencies. Why do we do that? A lot of the time is because we've just dealt with one aspect. So we've mastered that, but we haven't dealt with the root cause of why we need to get rid of money, right? So emergencies is a perfect way to get rid of money, right? So one of the best to deal with guilt and to heal it is to really do inner child healing. So on the side in the brackets is that in the Money Magic course, which is lesson 6 to lesson 9. Actually, inner child and inner teen work is just like a massive part of the course, so that by the time we get down to doing mother wound, father wound, all sorts of ancestral, generational, our own healing in this lifetime before we even try digging up the other people that aren't probably doing your own stuff. So we also a huge part is also understanding your spirit of money, which is really created around money, and how do they keep you from feeling okay about having money. So that's in lesson 0. What you're going to work on is shame. Okay, so kind of a funny thing, I share how we don't know how we feel emotionally. Like for years, I just felt depressed around money, right? And just in life, I just felt depressed and suicidal. So when I started doing from this work, and I was just doing Vipassana meditation home, and I realized after 3 months so consistently that underneath my depression was shame, and shame was what made me feel extremely depressed. And shame has a way of making us feel like we don't deserve to be seen. So it makes us want to hide, right? Oh, whatever I'm doing, I should hide myself. I don't know if anyone else has ever had this, where like for me, my mom's favorite thing is when I goes, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself, right? So that the reason why she says that is because it's like, how can you still show your face after all that? There's an emotion that makes us want to hide. Now, when we want to hide, it's also from other people and what will people say, right? So that's also why and then we procrastinate around finances and seeking solutions. And often with shame, we also feel ashamed of our debts. We pretend we're not in debt because what will others say? So we will literally die on the hill of our debt. Refuse to admit that we're in debt, so we won't show other people. So we pretend and we take on more debt just to save face. So that's the opposite of face, so that you don't show your shame, right? Again, shame is a lot to do with inner child healing. We learned how to be ashamed as kids. So we need to heal that. And often shame is linked to the feeling of not being enough, not good enough, not. So there's a need to uncover to heal the shame. And a lot of that comes from the inner child. And then there's also lesson 1, meditations. Okay, so blame is a huge thing as well. So when we're in blame mode, we have a hard time taking responsibility, right? And we're in victim. So not only are we having a hard time taking responsibility, we're also in total victim mode, okay? Also give too much because we feel like victims. So the interesting thing about the victim archetype or shadow, victim often wants to be saved, right? So what happens with the victim is that they then end up saving others. And I think this is really key to understand, especially if you're struggling with family asking for money and you are also struggling with black tax. Often it's got nothing to do with our family. I promise you this, right? So often what it is that we feel victimized, right? And because we feel victimized, we're tapping into the victim archetype. So desire to be saved. And because we have a desire to be saved, we start playing it out externally and we start saving other people without them asking us. So we find ourselves in total savior mode. And then what happens is that we give too much. And in giving too much, we then blame the other people that we can say, oh my God, it's because of them that I have to give so much, right? And a lot of the times it's because we're operating from the blame emotion, really deeply tied to our victim archetype and victim shadow. So it's also about healing the shadow, right? So you need to heal them in lesson 3 of the Money Magic course, but it's also about healing the inner child, whatever is within feels victimized, right? And often we have truly been victims in our lives. We've experienced abuse, extreme abuse, all that. We will tap into the victim shadow. We will feel victimized because we truly have been victims. So the victim, that's the irony of the victim shadow, is that often the victim shadow is justified, but it's also a very toxic shadow to stay in, right? And I know because the victim shadow is my primary shadow. It's the shadow that I offer, right? So the next emotion that keeps us in debt is overwhelm, right? So why is everyone still able to see me? Okay. Okay, so the emotion also leads to procrastination, right? But it may run away, right? So because we feel overwhelmed, we want to just run away from the situation. And because it's too much, when you have to think about what happens in your life when you just feel like, I just have way often it becomes very, very difficult to even start, right? So you don't even know where to start. So you just decide not to do anything. So the best way forward when we feel overwhelmed, down tasks into small bite-sized pieces. So that's where the goal setting work, comes in. That's when we start adopting new financial behaviors. Okay. And then frustration. Oh, the emotion I was feeling today around everything to do with technology. Okay, so frustration makes us want to give up. Oh, trust and believe this is the truth. When we feel frustrated, we want to give up. And when we feel frustrated around our finances, we really want to give up everything that we've been doing, right? That's self-sabotage. So often think about if you've been doing all this deep work around money, right? And then you've been work around setting up your budget and setting up your debt repayment strategy, and it just feels like nothing you do is working. Then you have to feel frustrated because you think nothing is working anyway, so what's the purpose? And that's when you start to give up, right? And that's when you blow everything out of. Ironically, whenever we feel frustrated about money, most times what happens is I see people getting, how do I put it? Like most people think, well, the only way forward in terms of finances is to start depriving of basic things so that I can pay off my debt faster. Because remember, you're frustrated, you just want this out of the way. Well, the minute you start depriving yourself, that's when you're going to feel even more frustrated, and you actually increase the possibility of self-sabotage, which is why in day I had you guys do a budget that aligns with your values, not a budget where I ask you, as they do traditionally in personal finance, where I go, cut out that, cut out entertainment, all that. No, because that will feel like self-deprivation, and self-deprivation will almost always lead us feeling like we've been robbed of something. Okay, so we really want to do work around that, to start focusing on your spirit of money, which is lesson 0 of the Money Magic course. So if you're feeling frustrated, you really want to understand money, because there's a reason why money is frustrating you, and we want to get to the bottom of that. Whew. And then the final emotions. Whew. Okay, so when we feel impatient, this is when we feel it's because we're more likely to get into debt. Actually, studies have found that people that are the most likely to have credit card debt, so revolving debt, right, and short-term debt, because they don't know how to live without instant gratification. Okay, so instant gratification is something that we then need to work on. Right? We need to, when we have this need for instant gratification, we increase our debt because we need to have everything now. And then we also take the first salary offer. So this is very, very interesting, right? So often we're impatient, we have a hard time negotiating. So often we'll take the first salary offer, we'll take the first offer that client or whatever, because we don't have that stamina to negotiate. And we also overpay for things, because when you're from shop to shop, comparing prices, right? So you're going to, so at the end of the day, what we do is right now for whatever it is that we want. So with impatience, my suggestion is to just do a lot of the lesson meditations, right? Whew. Okay, so that was a lot. We did start 10 minutes later, so over time, right? So let me know how you're feeling so far in the chat box. Nobody's saying anything in the chat. So I need you guys to tell me how you're feeling. Is any of this making any sense? Okay. Only Caroline has said anything so far. So that's interesting. So the to financial freedom. So let's talk a little about, let's talk a little about the I just talked about today and how it all fits together. So I kept saying during the challenge that it's not about the money, it's about financial behavior has almost zero to do with the money, right? It's got so much to do with us and our fears, the fear of who we will be when we have money, right? So that will often be reflected in how we feel when we have money. So not having money, right? The fear of having money is equally as like tangible, right? And equally real. So it's also about fear of what others will say and the judgment around that. And sometimes it's even about understanding, so then going deeper and understanding the personalities we've created around money, right? So in the challenge, we worked a lot on the emotions and sensations. So we basically bridge the two things, right? So often in traditional finance, we are told that we somehow need to increase all these things. But the truth is that all these things, the emotions, the sensations in our body, the changes in our, even the underlying causes of our emotions are what's driving all this, our income, our savings, our investments. So really what we need to heal is our thoughts, our beliefs, our memories, our vows, our ancestral heritage, and our spiritual beliefs around things that I even teach in the Money Magic course is this idea of the God wound, which is a whole thing, right? Because I realized a deeply religious and Christian background carry this wound. And for some reason, the funny thing is that a lot of people in my life gravitate towards the work that I do. And a lot of them come from very strict religious background, to the point where so many of my students are so scared to do the meditations, and we have to unpack all that because there's this fear of ghost action. So the God wound has nothing to do with that anyway, by the way. The God wound is so much more complex than that, but it's part of the things that we need to heal, right? In order to start increasing our income, debt, and our spending, right? So, okay, that's that's what I've shared for today. Last, before I start sharing about the Money Magic course. In the meantime, do you guys have any more questions? Share your insights in the chat. Of course, you can to the account group and share there, but I'm archiving the group on November 4th, right? So just to recap what you've learned so far and day 5's class, but that you've also been learning it and seeing it for yourself the last 4 days of the challenge, right? Is that there is a link between, and that there are some emotions that we feel that are stopping us from saving and investing. So you've probably started to see during the challenge, look at my bank account, I feel mainly emotion, right? So I feel guilt, or I feel shame, or I feel hopeless or doubtful, whatever. There was the 7. I just chose 7 because I just thought it would be interesting to explore some of what I thought were the top 7. And they also just talked about how healing ourselves heals our finances. So for some people, you will start to see as the next few weeks, like you'll start to see, oh my gosh, just by focusing on my breath, I'm already making different financial, heal yourself emotionally. You're already starting to see that there's a healing happening in your finances. So I'm as well, because you want to fall in love with your bank account. We did, after all, have a whole 5-day challenge around that, right? And people to start trusting themselves with money. And you also want to stop sabotaging yourself financially, and you want to change your finances with money. So how do you keep the momentum going even after that? I want to know, right? Now you've had, and you keep it going. Well, you can truly live the life that you want, but I'm not going to sell you that it's going to take inner work. It's going to take active goal setting worksheets, doing the number during the bank account challenge, which is looking at your bank statement, looking at the numbers, working with what you're going to be doing, but it's, and there's a step-by-step system, right? And for me, remember, is really theories or ideas. These are things that me and my students and clients have done to invest, right? So it's not like I have special advantages or special skills. And I promise you guys, because people keep the illusion, right? I just have these money magic meditations and the work, part of which I've shared in the last 5 days, and the work, right? And so for me, I truly believe, and I have seen in my own life, that you're just like a romantic relationship, it requires daily work. So most people have, like, the type, myself included, we have this lifetime of stories and trauma that we carry around money, and then we think we'll sort it out in 5 days or even 1 day of a seminar or a training. So we go there, we feel motivated, won't change anything. Why we don't have like these epic shifts? That's because it's about doing daily work, just like a relationship with money, right? So my solution to that, to the daily work, is the Money Magic course. It's life translation. So we've just opened for enrollment today, and we close on November 4th. And what more students say, right? So magicians, the value is well worth more than the price. I thought I was signing up for a money course. I thought I had dealt with most, teach me that everything is related the best way to heal your money and anything else really is holistically. And then it's help because people become familiar with what you can do. And by the time they come to purchase your products and decision, whatever. So she was saying that the decision is already made. So she said it was the same with me for Vangila's work. At first, I was skeptical of paying for such a service. I thought as a trained coach, I can just do the work using books and what's out there. But then I joined the group and started watching the films. Although I thought the decision was already made in my spirit, and now that I'm in the course, I realize how much work went into the course. Matsi basically said, hello, Van, the Money Magic course continues to bring money magic in my world. Because they've been telling me these stories, I wouldn't believe them, right? So then she shares all the money stuff that happened. Guys, there's so much. You can post and really, I really don't mind because I know that the course is that awesome. So just talk to them as they share, right? So it's spiritual, emotional, and practical around 30 plus bonus classes. There's live videos, there's worksheets, budget spreadsheet, there's audio training, and of course, my favorite thing is the secret Facebook tribe. So basically, how to turn your financial blocks into benefits. The idea that the financial stack is not true. Like, our blocks can become the very thing that become. So by the end of our time together, and there is no ending, I want to say this is a lifetime thing, but I think in 12 months, I would really love my students to see these shifts of turning blocks into benefits, being able to set, having a money tribe to cheer them on. They never feel lonely, right? So let me share a little bit about what the course is, connecting the spirit of money work. We have meditations around remaining present with your finances. Then we have crafting your financial vision. There's goal setting lessons. There's lessons on how to use your resources wisely. So if you feel like you don't have enough money, how can you take the resources that you have to start making more money? So this goes back to how I was able to work with my aunt, right? And help her get out of debt. So she only had a teacher's salary. So how do we work with this teacher's salary to understand how she could get out of debt? And yeah, like the fact that she doesn't have a mortgage, she has 2 homes, and she has rental income from 2 different houses, and like extra houses in the back rooms and all that. That's huge to have done in about 2 to 3 years, right? And then adopting new financial behaviors in lesson 5. Lesson 6 is all about living with intention. But then I start introducing the healing the father wound and mother wound by parenting the inner child, right? So we do a lot of meditations, and then we do a lot of work around guilt and money, because guilt was obviously my key emotion. Then we also do healing the inner teen, healing family dynamics around money, creating an investment portfolio. So this is like, there's so much in the Facebook group around that even. And then we go deeper into lesson 10, building an investment portfolio. So lesson 9 and 10 are very practical. So that's like how to start investing in exchange traded funds, right? So we have whole lessons on Forex trading and exchange rates and how those work. We talk about getting into property. And so property is a big thing. We have way more classes. So I don't want to just take more screenshots because we have like 15 lessons. and even way more, because I teach both in the group and in the Facebook group and in the course. So I'm constantly creating new lessons in the Facebook group that I then have to develop for the course, that then move into the course site. So as it is, there's a whole new 10-day challenge in the course, 10-day bank account challenge, that is about to be added to the course, because it's all on the Facebook group right now. And there's a bunch more other things, right? So I think the best part of the course is that you do it at your own pace. You have lifetime access. You buy now and have access to all new materials. You don't ever have to pay extra. And I have a 30-day I have a 30-day money back guarantee, right? So far, nobody has ever instituted that. People have rather said, "Van, I want to park the course and I will come back in a few months to it." But nobody's ever just gone, "Ooh, 30-day money back guarantee, I'll utilize that," right? So how do you join? There's big fat yellow buttons under this video. Just click on them, it will take you to the course. So the big question is, how much do you pay? What's the investment in the course? Okay, so it's 12,997 Rand once off, or you pay monthly 1,299 Rand for 12 months, and you get lifetime access. So you still get access to everything even if you have the monthly option. Or if you're using US dollars, it's 1,297 US dollars, and you pay over 12 months at 119 US dollars. And for South Africans, there's an EFT option available, but please do not message me about the EFT option unless your card genuinely does not work, right? So let that be the last resort. Everything can be done on the website. So I always say to people, taking a college course or an in-person class would cost you way more. And actually, they don't teach any of my meditations in college. Only I have my meditations. They're unique to Wealthy Money and to my work, right? So if you buy the course today, you also get my Travel and Save Like a Boss course, which I teach to people on how to start traveling, right? So basically, the aim of the course is to help you start traveling within a space of 6 months after signing up. That one is extremely practical, so don't expect any meditations. It's basically practical. So course registration is from today until November 4th, and the bonus disappears tonight. So you only get the Travel and Save Like a Boss course if you purchase the Money Magic course tonight. And to join now, you just click on the link in the comment section below, or basically the big yellow button below, right? Or you can go straight to the link, wealthy-money.com/money magic. This is what the landing page looks like, right? And when you get there, you click on this button, click here to register, and then it will take you down here. So then you choose your payment options. So if you choose whatever option you choose, like pretend you choose the 12-month option, right? Then it will take you through here, or the once off option, then it will tell you to complete a purchase, and you do that, and then you just click on enroll in course, right? And you'll be enrolled, and you'll know you're enrolled because you'll have this little message that says, "Welcome, you're officially a Money Magic student." And then click here to access the course, and you should have access to all the lessons, right? And then you should also receive an email welcoming you to the Money Magic course, telling you what to expect, how to utilize the course, etc., right? Whew, okay, I feel like I've been talking forever. I could use more water. Does anyone have any questions before we call it a day? I can't believe we're done with the challenge, like 5 days of the challenge. Guys, we did it. I also say we, because I've been doing so much inner work around this, But the difference is I've been sharing it in the student group, not in the Fall in Love with Your Bank Account challenge, because I didn't want to mess up what you guys were experiencing. But I had my own major realizations and so many issues. That's my tech issues, right? My emergency issues with technology. Okay, so if there aren't any questions at all, I'm going to say thank you so much. The challenge group is open until November 4th. And then I'm going to archive it until we do the challenge again. I only run the challenges twice a year because they take a lot energetically to hold. It takes a lot for me energetically to hold space for that many people. So yeah, but I truly enjoy the challenges, because in the same way that everybody's doing the work, I'm doing the work, and I'm also being so stretched and challenged. Like, it's a challenge for me as well, right? I'm also being challenged in so many deep ways, and I see how I grow, and my relationship with money and with my journey as an entrepreneur just starts to shift because of that. So thank you so much, guys. Share the link to the challenge. Oh, well, the challenge is now closed for registration, but anyway, share the links to the Wealthy Money blog. Share what you've learned with people, right? At the end of the day, we all want everyone around us to really grow financially. Like, I see how helping my aunt, my cousins, my aunts, not just one aunt, my cousins, everyone with this work, even my siblings, I teach this work. They bought the course, right? My sister's in the course, like the Money Magic students know her. She shares her journey as well. She's a student. And I see how them doing that work is also shifting us in terms of a family, as family, because it means that we all are on the same page about, oh, this whole loaning money thing and asking for money and all that. So we all start to understand, and so we interact so differently around money and all that. And it's just awesome to be able to talk money with my family, which I talk money with them all the time, right? Which is so cool because of this work, because they're doing the inner work as well. So like, my aunt and I talk money all the time, and she has no problems always saying to me, look at my bank statement. Like, she literally shows me her bank statement, right? She shows me her investment statements, and we sit down and we look and we talk and we share. My mom does the same thing. And I think that comes from doing the work, right? And I think once we're comfortable within ourselves, and since they're doing their own work, it becomes easier to talk about money in the family. And I think that's also just we doing our work and spreading this work to them and encouraging them to do their own inner work helps us as well. So, okay, that's my last word for the day. Let me leave everyone. I'll see you guys in the group. And thank you. Namaste. I hope to see you guys in the Money Magic course. Good night.